Hi, my name is Scott Randolph. I'm a producer and tour manager for Stephen Glover, better known as Steve-O.
Oh my God, just don't do that, Steve-O.
I have an amazing life and I get to travel the world. I surf, I tour, I film, and I experience the very best that life has to offer.
Hey, he likes your ear. I know, please don't call him in. He's not. He's not.
But there is more to me than that. Let me tell you how I came to ride a motorcycle 2,600 miles around India.
I just got off of a 15-hour from LA to Hong Kong, and then 7 hours from Hong Kong to Mumbai. Welcome to India! Woo! Which way am I going? That way or that way?
Landing in Mumbai on December 7th, I got picked up by my producer Josh.
And then you slide it.
We discussed the logistics of this trip and the many stops I would take along the spiritual path towards enlightenment. Some of those being the Gandhi Ashram, the Krishna Temple, Lahiri Mahashaya Temple, the cave of Babaji, the Maharishi Mahesh Yogi Ashram where the Beatles stayed and the birthplace of Transcendental Meditation, the Bodhi tree, and finally the Yoga Society of Kolkata. I'm a huge believer that everything is energy, and if I wanted to sync up with India, I had to get the feel for it.
Syncing up with the energy of India.
Taking off from Mumbai, our first stop was Ahmedabad, the Gandhi Ashram.
I had read the autobiography of Gandhi about 5-6 years ago, and what really stood out for me was at the time was his idea of God was absolute truth. I just loved that. The second thing that really stood out for me was that he had complete control of his mind. And for me in my life right now, emotional sobriety is a very, very important thing. I believe that happiness is a choice, and so there's certain things that we can do every day in our life to make sure that we stay happy and stay centered, stay focused.
We stayed there throughout the whole day, just soaking up all the energy that the ashram had to offer. It was nothing like I had ever felt before in my entire life. I remember walking around there and I just had low-grade chills the whole time, and at some point I had some tears rolling down my face. It just felt so good. But after rolling around there for a little while, this was Gandhi's place, but it wasn't mine.
I feel totally centered, ready to go. I did a little bit of praying, meditating, just got centered for the trip to Udaipur. We got about 250 kilometers to go, and I'm looking forward to it. See you guys there.
I ventured off to the next stop in Udaipur, in the state of Rajasthan. So in Udaipur, a couple things happened. The first thing that happened was my first time riding at night, and I wasn't looking forward to it. Add this with people, motorcycles, cows, water buffaloes, and dogs running out in front of you at any given moment makes this super hectic. Second thing that happened to me in Udaipur was my experience at the first Hindu temple.
I'm sitting here in the state of Rajasthan, in the city of Udaipur, and behind me I have the Jagdish temple where they practice Hinduism. This morning at 5 a.m. I woke up to the sounds of singing, music, chanting, cymbals crashing, and what they're doing in there is they're practicing Aarti.
So walking up the stairs to the temple, saying hi to some sadhus, I walked around the grounds for a little while and I ran into these older women and they gave me their blessing and placed tika on my forehead, which was pretty cool.
So I just got a blessing from two beautiful women. It's called a tilak, and it's a blessing to ward off evil spirits. And I loved every minute of it.
place was truly incredible. Was this what I was looking for? I definitely found the taste of it, but it wasn't what I wanted.
We're heading from Udaipur to Jaipur, about 400 kilometers. See you guys in Jaipur.
So as I was riding my bike down the street, a guy came in front of me on his motorcycle and cut me off. I hit my head so hard, and if I wasn't wearing that helmet, I would have been completely done.
So he cut in front of me, and I skidded on the back brake, and the thing just slipped and fell, and I slammed my head. Dude, these things save lives. I'm speechless. Yeah, no worries.
Alright, so yesterday I took a pretty good spill, and I've been kind of thinking about my next ride, and I'm a little nervous about it, but that's the thing. It's like when something like that happens, you just got to get back on and keep going. We came up to Mathura today to check out the Krishna temple. This is the birthplace of Krishna.
We couldn't take our cameras inside, but a couple things I took along from that trip.
So we just left the Krishna temple. What really stood out with me was all the friends that I was there with. They're so open about their religious beliefs and their public display of affection with their God. Back at home or back in the States or anywhere else I go, people are kind of quiet about it and they're not so open about it. And I don't really necessarily think it doesn't matter at all what religion you are or what your belief in God is, but what really stood out is that people are so open about it here. There's a lot of stuff from the Gita on the wall that talks about lust and just material wealth and material wishes, and it kind of really resonated with that because lately in my life I've been struggling a lot with lust and material wealth, and it just puts a lot of things into perspective. I used to listen to the Bhagavad Gita on audiobook about 7-8 years ago, and so seeing all that on the wall there and being in the Krishna temple, this was a really good trip for me, and I'm really glad I got to see it, and I'm really glad I got to be here. So we're going to head back to Agra, and just an amazing trip to Mathura.
So we were leaving the ashram, and this woman outside was asking us for money, and we gave her some money, but it wasn't enough. We took off, and she followed our car for so long, and she was yelling at us. I turned to Josh and I said, "What is she saying?" And what he told me completely stuck with me for the rest of the trip. She was saying in Hindi, "Please give me money. I will give you the love and blessing of a sister." It's unparalleled to any love you can ever experience in the world.
So one of my favorite things about traveling is being on an airplane for a long time, and then when you land, you get off the plane, you go through customs, and everything's kind of quiet and mellow, and then all of a sudden you get into a new town, and it's just chaos. It's full-on chaos, and there's a certain high that I get from it. And every country I go to, it's the same thing. We're all just trying to get high at the end of the day, whether that's love, food. One of the best feelings I've ever felt in my life.
Okay, we're getting to the Taj Mahal. We're trying to catch the sunrise. We're over here at the Taj Mahal. It's a white marble mausoleum, and Emperor Shah Jahan built this for his favorite wife back in 1632. At the time, it cost 32 million rupees, which is equivalent to 837 million US dollars today. It's incredible. Let's go check it out. Being at the Taj Mahal really made me reminisce about the past relationships I was in. Some of those relationships I wanted to work out so badly, and I gave up all my principles to try to make those work. And when they didn't work out, I was just completely bummed. You know, on the one hand, it's God doing for me what I can't do for myself, and on the other hand, it's just me fulfilling my prophecy that I always had to come on this trip. If any of those relationships ever worked out, I would have never done this trip. And I felt like I was in the right moment at the right time. To build something this big and this expensive for your favorite wife,
That's totally something I would do for somebody I'm in love with. I tend to be a bit of a romantic.
Seeing that woman run after the car begging me for money really just put into perspective how fortunate I am in my life. You know, my priorities were all screwed up in life. I was focused on trying to make enough money, trying to get the girl, when I should have just been focusing on what's important for me, and that's just relationships that are close by and kind of maintaining those. I was really able to make peace with those past relationships and just kind of move on from there. And I really feel like that shifted a lot of things for me in my life, and it opened up new opportunities that are coming my way. So leaving Agra, we drove through New Delhi to get to Haridwar. It was a quick 450 kilometers. The journey in the roads became really tough. We stopped at this place along the roadside to get some coffee because it was just so freezing cold.
It's like I got a weight on with this jacket. Oh yeah, I should have done this a long time ago.
While we were there, these farmers started talking to us, and they were asking what we were doing and what we were up to. And while we were speaking with them, the head of the village came over, and he started talking to us, and he couldn't believe that I had made the trip that far. And he looked at the guys that I was traveling with, and he said, "You guys should feel very blessed to be traveling with this guy, because whatever this guy did in a past life must have been so amazing to be able to do a trip like this." When I heard that, all the doubts that I had to go on this trip just totally wiped that clean. In my meditations for like the last 10 years, like something here has been telling me to come here. So it's just like when he told me that, I kind of got teary-eyed because I'm like, man, like it all makes sense, you know? I don't know, it's kind of cool. I kind of get emotional just thinking about it, but that's heavy stuff, man.
You made a vision, man.
This morning we're heading to the morning ritual on the Ganga River. It's a morning Aarti. So we're gonna head down this morning. We're gonna jump in and do a little bathing. It's supposed to be one of the most spiritual things you can do if you're a Hindu, is come down to this actually river in particular in Haridwar. It's the 7th largest ghat in India. Ghats are bathing steps, and from the sound of it, it's already going on. There's a whole festival going on. And if I can say anything about it, I just hope the person that's, if you're sitting there in a job you don't like, or if you're in a relationship you don't like, and you have that inner calling to go do something, go do it. And I feel like that's what I'm here for, is like I've had this whole mission in mind just to do it. And I couldn't settle down with my life until I did it, so I'm really happy that I'm in the middle of it right now, and I just feel really good.
The Ganga was freezing cold that morning, but it didn't seem to bother anyone. People came from all over to partake in this ancient ritual.
This goes on every morning from 5:30 to 6. It's absolutely one of the most incredible things I've ever seen. People are so dedicated to their faith.
It's cold, dude. I'll do push-ups after. I dove under the river and it energized me, mind, body, and soul.
I feel good, man. As soon as I got out of the water, I felt the warmness come over me. Something about this place, man. It's beautiful.
It was always on the bucket list, and I read about it in Autobiography of a Yogi, and getting baptized in the Ganga was numero uno on the list. I received a blessing on my way out, and I felt better than ever. So from the Aarti festival, we headed over to the Lahiri Mahashaya temple. Walking around the grounds, the groundskeeper came up to us and he asked us what we were doing, and I told him. And it turns out we were talking under a Rudraksha tree. And I always carry around the Rudraksha beads with me. It's a kind of like a spiritual rosary. And he gave me some seeds from that tree. Before leaving the ashram, he showed me this little nook under the ground, and I got to meditate underneath there. And I asked Lahiri Mahashaya to bless me on the next portion of my journey. Lahiri Mahashaya studied with Babaji in the cave, and that's where he learned Kriya Yoga. Day 7 of the journey, we're heading from Haridwar to Rishikesh. We're heading up to Maharishi Mahesh Yogi's ashram, and this is where the Beatles came to in the 60s.
Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band!
Beautiful rivers I've ever seen in my entire life.
Okay, so it's quite a trek to get here. Behind me is the Maharishi Mahesh Yogi's ashram. The Beatles also stayed here, but the reason why I wanted to come here on the Scott Randolph pilgrimage was because I practice transcendental meditation. So this is where transcendental meditation, I don't know necessarily if it started, but this is what the Maharishi did. So just on my bucket list, I wanted to come here and I wanted to throw down 20 minutes of transcendental meditation. Let's go check it out.
So this is where the Beatles stayed, I guess? It's like little stone bungalows.
On the trip, I had the Beatles playing in my headphones, and I was listening to them talk about their experience in India. And here I am walking around the same grounds, and everything's overgrown by 40 years. And it really just put time into perspective for me, you know? It just made me realize how short life is, and kind of just made me want to enjoy the moment even more. Another thing that was really crazy for me was sitting on the Ganga River practicing transcendental meditation. When the Beatles went there in their heyday and they were on top of the world, touring and traveling around the world myself, you know, just being there on the river, just realized that something's missing.
Felt so good to be in the sun, just sunbathing. That was a huge thing on my bucket list that I've always wanted to check out. Meditating on the Ganga at the Maharishi's ashram. Feels so good.
So walking around the town of Varanasi was pretty crazy. It's one of the oldest cities in the world, and you had people from all over walking around that place.
spirit animal. And I got it tattooed on my chest. So it's really good to see these things here.
We got on a boat to see the Aarti festival, and this was one of the oldest Aarti festivals in the world. I just picked up a couple offerings for the river Ganga, and we're going to take this boat out and see the Aarti festival from the water. You know, walking down here, it's another one of those places in India where I just get the chills. This place is just so overwhelming. Unbelievably beautiful. If you see behind me the fire burning, that's what you call a masan. And that's actual bodies being burned, and then they take the ashes and they dump them into the Ganga as an offering to Ganga Maya.
So as we get ready to wrap up here at the hotel, I'm going to jump on my motorcycle and we're going to go to Gaya to go sit under the Buddha tree and try to reach enlightenment. Let's get on the bike and take off. We got a 250-kilometer trek down to Gaya, and overall my experience here in Banaras has been spectacular. The people are great, the city is old and beautiful, so let's take off for Gaya.
So after we left Varanasi, I had these headphones in. Writing for 16 hours a day, I would be listening to my headphones, and I was listening to the autobiography of Yogi at one part. There was this part in there where he was buying silk in Banaras. It was crazy because we just had left Banaras or Varanasi, and I remember seeing silk all over the place there. And it was just it was a really synchronistic moment. All these synchronistic things were happening to me on that trip, and it kind of reminded me of before when I bought the ticket. I remember thinking, should I buy this ticket, should I not? I had went down to the beach to kind of clear my mind and swim around a little bit. As I was getting out of the water, I saw this girl reading autobiography of a yogi. I looked at her and I said, hey, I've been thinking about buying this trip to India, and I wasn't sure. Me seeing you read that book, I'm buying the ticket for sure. It's so interesting to me that when I was planning this trip out, I was sitting in a green room in Miami, and I was looking at the different places that I wanted to travel, and the Bodhi tree was one of them. And I always wondered what this place looked like. Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm fine, and you?
I'm good, thank you. And it's so cool to see an idea that you had so long ago manifest itself into reality. The people here are great, the colors are vibrant, and there's so much to do here. Being at the Bodhi tree was super interesting to me because I was able to see all the monks from all over the world travel to their Mecca, right? Like this was also their spiritual pilgrimage. And another thing was like, I always wanted to meditate under the Bodhi tree. I remember just looking at this place on a map, and then I was in a terrible relationship. And I just remember thinking like, God, I just want to go there. Seeing all these people on their pilgrimage, they were there for days. They were literally singing and they were chanting and they were just getting rice and pouring on things, and they were just doing different meditation things. Just seemed like these people dedicate 100% of their life to God. Just really put into perspective that that's just kind of how I wanted to start living my life in the present.
Walking around and talking to people, sitting under the Bodhi tree was a bucket list item that I was definitely checked off that day.
Here. Shh. It's for all you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm friend.
Nice to meet you.
Friend.
Have a good day.
और सुबह सब मिलेंगे.
So after spending some time at the Bodhi tree, feeling super refreshed, it was time for me to go to Babaji's cave. Messed up, body has the aches and chills. It can be from like 4 things. It can be from like a fly I ate at lunch yesterday. It can be me feeding the livestock with my mouth. It could be from someplace we ate at, or it could be at the masseuse. Like got the evilness out of me. Like she was like whispering something in my ear, telling me like my energy is shifting and she's helping it, and like right when I left there I just felt terrible, and then when I went to go throw up it was just black, and like I didn't eat anything black today, so I don't know if it was like the evilness of my soul. I don't know. Man, my hair looks gray in that photo, but you look handsome. So we got into Havani last night, just being deep in meditation for a couple hours. And there's like a certain calling for me to come to Babaji's cave, and so I'm here. So it's really exciting for me. It's almost like things are starting to make sense for my life, like there's a shift. This is the last stop before we head to Babaji's cave, and I'm really excited about it. It's actually like the pinnacle for me of this pilgrimage or this journey that I'm on. I've been waiting to do this for the last 10 years, so it's really cool to see it actually come to fruition. I'm listening to Autobiography of a Yogi, the chapter on Babaji. So Babaji's cave was only about 250 kilometers, but it took about 8 hours to get there. And something weird happened to me the last 5 kilometers. It was a straightaway forest, and the roads were so smooth. It was just really warm. Normally on the road, you have no idea if something's going to jump out in front of you. But this last stretch of the road, I just had a knowing that nothing was going to jump out in front of me. In the Autobiography of a Yogi, they talk about if you say the name Babaji, you get a spiritual blessing. So I remember saying it just 1,000 times in my head and out loud, and I was just ready for it. Upon walking up the Babaji's cave, I took my shoes off and I washed my feet. I was literally looking at the most beautiful place my eyes had ever seen. And as I was walking across the riverbed, I looked up and behold, Babaji's cave. I stuck my hand in the cave and I just felt around for the presents and just sat back and stared at the cave for a little while and just, paid homage to Babaji for the trip thus far.
Babaji Ashram.
I can honestly say that this is the most peaceful, beautiful place I've ever been to in my entire life.
I walked in silence around the grounds for a little bit and I decided to sit in meditation. The answers that I was seeking to find was that there are no answers to find. Nete coisiveras extra. Do not seek outside yourself. Everything is inside of you. You don't need to go 15,000 miles away to find the answer. I drove a long way to find that out, but I'm so glad I did.
So I'm pretty much speechless for my journey to Babaji's cave today. And it's time for me to get out of here and head back to the city. You have like oncoming lights coming, and then all of a sudden everything just whites out in your face, and then you have no idea what's like 10 feet in front of you, so you're just waiting to get hit by something, and then you're just like, and then you go through it, and then it's like, okay, cool, I didn't die. Okay, so last time I checked, I was half tank and I ran out of gas. I don't know how that happened. I'm not really tripping. Everything always seems to work out. But we're gonna get there sooner or later, so stay tuned. What a day I've had today. I had a lot of epiphanies today. As soon as it turned dark, the fog came up and it was a heavy fog. So that was a little rough coming in. And then as soon as we got into the city center, just absolute chaos, and I'm kind of getting addicted to the chaos. Yeah, it's a funny thing about, when I first came here and I was so I'd say my whole world got ruptured with like the chaos of India and just the hecticness and all the, but now it's like, I don't even notice that. It's a weird thing because I think just like anything in life, we get so used to our surroundings and it just kind of, it makes me think like, what am I surrounding myself with? You know, when I go back home, like what kind of chaos am I going to put myself into? Whether it's a toxic relationship or bills to pay or just accumulating more things and things that I don't need. I'm thinking about all the relationships that I have with my friends and family now, and it's like, who do I want in there? You know, I'm so, it just really putting a lot of things into perspective for me. You know, it's like the things that I thought were important are not important at all, whatsoever. I made a lot of phone calls to people that I wanted to catch up with and like loved ones and my family members and friends, and they're asking me, how is this place? I'm like, dude, I couldn't even begin to describe what I've seen and what impact it's had on me. Today we leave Shaktigarh and we head to Kolkata to the Yogoda Society, where I am a member and where it all started for me. It's bittersweet, but I'm excited.
Last stop on the trip, I finally made it to the Self-Realization Fellowship, otherwise known as the Yogoda Society. I parked my bike, I bowed my head, and I said thank you to the universe for watching over me. Walking around the grounds, I had a chance to speak with the yogis, meditate, and thank God for my journey.
I guess I'm trying to say the reason why I wanted to do this trip was because I was so maxed out on every place I can possibly be maxed out on. I was totally spent in every way you can possibly be spent, and so I really wanted to do this trip, kind of quiet down all my senses, and so I can hear my intuition. I just feel like from observing everything that's happened on this trip, I noticed that Indian people, they make the search for God, I would say 99% of their entire life. It's like they wake up and their whole day is dedicated to God. Before they even start their day, they touch the floor because they're going to walk on God. In the western part of the world, maybe 10% is dedicated to God. And so for me, you know, going back home, I'm going to make it a point to make God 90% of my life. I mean, obviously the right answer is 100%. You know, but I think
Good start. 90% is a good start.
90% is a good start. I think fully. You know, I think there's still some fear there for me. I mean, do you have any tips for me when I go back home, or how to make that a daily part of my life?
Simple. Paramahansa Yogananda made it quite simple. You just have certain schedule within the day. So as soon as you get up in the morning, meditate a while. Before you retire, meditate a while. During the day, have a fixed time when you will come back to meditate at a particular time, so that gradually that becomes a part of your system. Like we take our food at a particular time, dinner at a particular time. So what happens is, in our search for God, if you want to make it a priority, it should more or less be that we have a fixed time for it. And there may be times when I am pulled away into some other activity, but whenever it's possible, I must come back to my own schedule.
Right.
If they attain spirituality, then it's a long way to go.
I'm done, and there's nothing else to do. And it's a weird transition from having places to be or places to go and kind of constantly being on the go, and now tomorrow I don't have to get on a bike anymore and go to the next stop. I've done it. You know, there's been some things on hold my whole life because I've always had to do something like this, and now I can start welcoming new things into my life. It's a good day today.